I love my country. I know that's cheesy probably to say, because you do too. That's why you're sitting here watching I'm Right on the First. You could be watching anything. You're watching this, you're a patriot, you love your country, but just, I'm going somewhere with this, hang with me. I really, really love it. And part of loving America for me has been looking down on America's enemies, especially the evil ones we hate. And remember Chernobyl? Do you remember Chernobyl, or do you know the story? You at least know the name. I would highly recommend you read a book on Chernobyl. If you don't like to read, I can see you rolling your eyes right now. If you don't like to read, if you're not a reader, HBO, actually, of all places, did an outstanding little mini-series on it that's very well done, very accurate and very well done on Chernobyl. And all my time of reading about Chernobyl, I actually watched that series about Chernobyl, it always hit me. It always hit me that what a horrible government that would be to live under. And here's why. You have this nuclear plant, and something goes terribly wrong, and whether you read about it or watch the documentary or whatever, immediately, in the wake of something terrible happening, and they knew something poisonous and awful was spreading out to the civilian population, in the immediate wake of that, these grown men, these people who should be leading a society, they did not do an all hands on deck, gather together in the conference room. Hey, fellas, come on, gather around here. We got to figure out how do we protect the people? The people are in danger. We got to protect the people. That's not what they did. The government, their system was so rotted and so corrupt that they met. Oh, don't get me wrong, they met. All hands on deck. Everyone gathered around, and they all met to try to cover their rear ends. What do we have to tell the public? What can we keep quiet? Oh, hey, let's not overblow this. No, just see if we can cover it up. Oh, let's clear the stuff. Call the firefighters in. The system itself in the Soviet Union was so rotted and so corrupt that no matter what happened, the elite, the powerful, were only concerned with themselves. And so the people suffered over and over and over again. The Chernobyl story is a fascinating story. And I brought up my patriotism because of this. I used to look at stories like that, especially out of the Soviet Union, right? The big red menace. I used to look at stories like that, and I would look down my nose at them. Look at that corrupt government. Look how embarrassing their government is. It would suck to live under a system like that, where something toxic to the citizens could be released and the elite would even consider only themselves instead of the good of the people. Call me naive. Shoot, maybe we were better back then when I thought like that. But I looked down on other countries and their corrupt systems like that a lot. And this really started during COVID, and now it's accelerated into hyperdrive under the Biden administration. This horrible feeling I'm getting inside of me right now. And that feeling is this. I'm 41 years old, that after a lifetime of looking down my nose at other governments and other systems, that's who we are now. That's us. Look, let's just briefly talk about this train thing in Ohio. I'm not going to get into all the ins and outs and chemical compositions and things like that I don't know much about. I know this vinyl chloride stuff turns into hydrochloric acid once it's burned, and they burned it. Look, I'm not going to get into all the details of it right now. But I know this. I know that powerful people are lying to us. And you know how I know that? I know that because people are getting sick. People are developing skin rashes. Animals are dying. Animal behavior is changing. Therefore, I don't care what the latest scientist, doctor, politician has to say. I don't care that Ohio governor, corrupt piece of trash that he is, Mike DeWine, I don't care that he's up there basically saying, oh, it's fine.
The federal government is conducting an investigation to determine why this wreck occurred, this crash occurred. We await that. And certainly we'll be interested in seeing what was going on. Look, the president called me and said, anything you need. I have not called him back after that conversation. I will not hesitate to do that if we're seeing a problem or anything, but I'm not seeing it.
No problem. I actually saw him last night get on the clip and say, oh man, go back home. Get some bottled water, is what he said. Get some bottled water and go back home. Well, you see, I realize I'm not a doctor or a scientist. I didn't go to MIT. I flunked out of college. But I do know this. If there's something in the air, in the water, in the food that is causing my skin to break out and my chickens to die, something is unsafe. And I don't care how many of these people they trot out in front of the camera to tell these poor people in East Palestine that it's safe. There's no way it's safe. If something is killing your dog, it's not safe for you, human being. And it occurs to me as I watch this happen in real time that this is what it's like. This is what it's like to live in a completely broken, corrupt system where the elites are only there to protect themselves and enrich themselves and loot the treasury for every dime they can as our republic slowly crumbles. I mean, we have a transportation secretary, which we shouldn't, but we have a transportation secretary in this country. In the wake of this disaster for the poor people of Ohio and West Virginia, and God forbid further, he's up there on stage talking about diversity?
On building a workforce that reflects the community. We have heard way too many stories from generations past of infrastructure where you got a neighborhood, often a neighborhood of color, that finally sees the project come to them, but everyone in the hard hats on that project looking like, doing the good paying jobs, don't look like they came from anywhere near the neighborhood.
Right.
You can build community wealth that will help close wealth gaps in this country if we can tear down those barriers.
And this is why I'm now having to deal with this. I've been dealing with this on just you and me talking for a few years now. I'm having to deal with the realization that I now live in that country I used to look down my nose at. Look, do we need to go back to the Chinese spy balloon? The United States of America, #1, leader of the free world, all those things that you and I love to talk about. We love to get teared up about as we put our hand on our heart and say the national anthem. The United States of America just allowed a Chinese spy balloon to traverse from the Pacific to the Atlantic before we shot it down. And not only that, the Biden administration was never going to tell you about it at all until someone looked up in the sky in Montana and said, wait, that doesn't look like Venus. And they started reporting on it. They were just going to let it go. They were just going to let it all go. And now, what are they doing? Now they're shooting something new out of the sky every 15 minutes, and they're telling you things like, well, we missed with that one Sidewinder. We don't know where that went. And, oh, the debris from what we just shot down over Lake Huron? Oh, yeah, no, we couldn't find it. It'll probably never be recovered at all. And they're lying. What's the truth? I don't know. I don't have any idea. You don't have any idea. That's what's so frustrating. When you live under a system like this, the truth in many, many, many cases becomes simply impossible to find. Now, you know what the lie is. The lie is easy to spot when you live under a corrupt regime like this. The lie is whatever they're telling you. Whenever a Corinne Diversity hire gets up there and tries to muddle through a press conference, just know that any words she does manage to get out are lies.
If it turns out, as it looks like, that the president and Mr. Trudeau sent Top Gun fighters to blow weather balloons out of the sky, does the president regret that, and is he embarrassed by that?
I'm not going to get ahead of what of any final decision. We just don't know yet.
I don't believe anyone.
Support the First TV today and get instant access to exclusive specials like Who is Ron DeSantis, the history of FBI scandals, and America's worst presidents. Visit thefirsttv.com/support or download the First TV app to become a supporter and start watching today.